Hello everybody. This video is just to go over the exercises that we were not able to cover last class. So looking at this question, we have a random sample of employees, 100 of them to be exact, and we're looking at their choice to retire after age 65. So we have them divided by management and production, and then whether they're going to retire or not going to retire after age 65. So the first thing that I see when I'm looking at a table like this is I want totals. I want total columns. So the first thing I'm going to do is calculate the totals at the bottom of retire and not retire because it hasn't given me those totals. So the total for retire is 35, 30 plus 5, and the total of not retire is 65, 50 plus 15. Okay, now I can look at these questions and look at how to solve them. So the first one is the probability that the employee is from management. So if we look, we see that we have a total of 20 that are from management. This is sort of the column that I'm looking at here. So I have 20 that are from management out of the total 100 employees. And that gives me 0.2 or 20%. Either of those answers is correct. The second one says the probability that the employee is from management and chooses to retire. So our key word here is and. So and tells us that we're going to have to multiply. Okay, so I'm going to put a little multiply sign over top of and. So the probability that the employee is from management and chooses to retire. So I'm going to find the probability that they're from management times the probability that they're choosing to retire given that they're from management. Remember, a multiplication tells us we have to multiply the first one times the second option given that that first option happened. So if you picture that I have all 100 employees in a room, and what is the probability that I'm going to choose somebody from management? So I'm going to choose somebody, they're from management, and then what's the chance that that person I chose is going to choose to retire after age 65? Okay, so the first step is we need to, what's the probability that that person I'm picking out of the crowd is from management? So there is 20 people, like we said before, there's 20 people from management out of the 100 people. And I'm going to multiply that by the probability that that person I chose from management is choosing to retire. So remember that there's 20 people in management. So this is going to be out of 20. I don't care about the whole population now. I'm just saying if that person was from management, so one of the 20 people from management, what's the chance that that person chose to retire? And if you notice, we have a 5 here. 5 people out of the 20 management chose to retire. So I know that this top one is going to be 5 out of 20. So 20 out of 100 are from management, and I'm multiplying that by the 5 people out of management that will choose to retire out of the 20 people from management. So my 20s are going to cancel out, and that leaves me with 5 out of 100, which is 0.05 or 5%. The next one says the probability that the employee is from production and chooses not to retire. So this is similar to B. I have my and, which means I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to do the probability that the person is from production times the probability that they choose to not retire given that they were from production. So the probability that they are from production is 80. I have that 80 out of 100 here. So the probability that they're from production is 80 out of 100. And the probability that they're not going to retire out of that 80 people that are from production, 50 of them said that they would not retire out of that 80. So my 80s cancel, and I end up with 50 out of 100, which is 0.5 or 50%. Okay. So let's look at the probability that the employee chooses to retire. So we're going to go back up to our thing here. Remember I had you do the totals, and this is why. So the probability that the employee is going to choose to retire is this 35 total here. So there's 35 employees, regardless of whether they're from management or production, that said they're going to choose to retire out of the 100 employees. So 35 employees out of 100 are going to choose to retire, which is 0.35 or 35%. Okay, let's look at this last one. So the last question is the probability that the employee is either from management or chooses to retire. So our keyword here is or, which we know shows us addition. Okay, so the probability that the employee is either from management, so the probability they're from management, or choose to retire. And don't forget, we then have to subtract the probability that they're from management and they're going to choose to retire. Okay, so we need to do the probability of both. We have to subtract that out because we've counted those people twice. We've counted them as a person from management and we've counted them as a person that's choosing to retire. So we have to subtract it out once so that those people have only been counted once, not twice. So let's look at the first bit, the probability that the person is from management. So looking at our chart, there's 20 people out of 100 that are from management. So here is 20 out of 100. The probability that they're going to choose to retire is our 35 out of 100. So let's look at the number of people that are from management and choose to retire. So I have management, choose to retire, is this 5 out of 100? Or if you look at question B, we calculated it there as 5 out of 100 are from management and choose to retire. So 20 plus 35 minus 5, all out of 100. Okay, 20 plus 35 is 55, minus our 5 is 50 out of 100, which is 0.5 or 50%.